Well, hello, everybody. Bill Thornton, SoCal Sabre. Thanks for stopping by, whether you're on the live stream or whether you watch it later. And don't forget to leave comments. Let me know what you think about this subject. I'm going to be talking about the upcoming NHL draft a little bit. I'm going to be talking about the Buffalo Sabres 2026, 2027. The way it looks to me, I do this every year, and sometimes I'm pretty close. Well, we'll see how close I am this year on it. But if you got any comments about it, please put them in there. I'm going to bring up a screen here that's going to outline what I think is going to happen. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we'll see. And I'll talk a little bit about why I'm doing this here. Okay, we're going to share the screen. Which one would you want to do here? Looks like this one here. All right, I hope you can all see that. If you blow it open and blow it, you'll be able to read it a little bit better. Okay, if you see the light blue, that means these guys are restricted free agents. The purple means they're unrestricted free agents. And then and these are the lineups that could possibly be happening. There's been a lot of talk, especially about this Alice Tuck, which I got out here. I don't even have him in the lineup. And I'll explain to that. Okay, and I'll tell you about that in a little second. For what I see now, Yuri Kulik, I hope that he comes back this year. He's such a good young player, and he missed most of the season because he got a blood clot. That's pretty dangerous. And so he was out most of the season. So I put Kulik at center and Zach Benson on left wing and Tage Thompson on the right wing. Over here we got Josh Doan on left wing, Josh Norris and Jason Zucker. Here we got Jack Quinn, Ryan McLeod, and Konsta Helenius that showed up in the playoffs, played real well. And then, in fact, he went back to his Finland and he scored the tournament-winning overtime goal in a 1-0 game. Then over here, I got Beck Malenstein, Peyton Krebs, and Jordan Greenway. Down on defense, I've got Dahlin and Samuelson, Power and Byram, and Connor Timmins and Zach Metza. I did have Michael Kesselring up here, but he just got traded this ring, and so that leaves gives 1.4 million to the cap, so it'll be at a 13.4 somewhere around there. Well, anyway. What was I going to talk about? Oh, and then the goalies, the UPL and Alex Lyon are both under contract. These are just extra guys. All right. What do we do with these extra guys? I could see, first of all, I'll talk about some of the things. Alex Tuck. He's a really good player. He's really played well for Buffalo, both sides of the puck, offense and defense. And sure, he had a bad second round of the playoffs. But he wasn't the only guy that had bad rounds in the playoffs. But the problem is he's asking $10.5 million in 8-year contract. He's 30 years old. I think that's way too much money for him anyway. But there's other guys like Kempe with the Kings that are getting about the same production, getting that kind of money. But the 8 years would be at 38. So I didn't put him up there. And another reason for that, $10 million. Look at it down here. Projected cap space at this point in time, with Kesselring gone, we're looking at 13.4. Take $10.5 million from that, you got $3 million cap space. What are you going to do about the rest of the guys? There's been talk about, okay, buy out Josh Norris and buy out somebody else to get enough money to be able to afford Alex Tuck. Well, buyouts right off the first year aren't so bad, but look at down here. On a Jeff Skinner buyout this coming season is a $6.5 million cap hit. Yeah. The first one year is okay, and then the second years are always really, really big. So great. Then how are you going to pay these other guys? I don't understand it at all. Now there is rumors going around that Zach Benson, and I think he earned it. Rumors they're looking at a 7-year, $49 million contract. So that would be $7 million. So take $7 million off of this 13.4, and you got $6.5. You still don't got enough for Alex Tuck. What about Peyton Krebs? Peyton Krebs has come along each year, and he did a fine job last year, whether they asked him to play on the fourth line or on the first line, and he works hard all the time. He's never go. So he decides to pay raise. All right. I got Beck Malenstein up here as one of the unrestricted free agents to sign. I put them up there, and then I've done some reading. I forget who the guy is. There's another guy in the league that plays a similar type of game, fourth line, and he's speedy and he bangs and block shots and everything. And this guy just locked up a good like $20 million for 5 years. And so I don't know if they'll be signing Mellenstein or not. But what about these defense? Okay. So that's Mellenstein is stuck with Stanley and Shen. Now we ain't going to re-signing them. We'll be looking at $6 to $7 million contracts on either one of them. Okay. So we're going to have to say goodbye to them. This Tanner Pearson, we got him like late in the trade deadline. I don't know if we would sign him again or not. Maybe Joshua Doan they might. But when I look down here, they got Tyson Kozak and Sam Carrick, I believe, are both under contract, which very easily could go. Carrick could go up in here into the center. Krebs could go on the wing. And Tyson Kozak always plays center also when he needs to. So he can go in and out of there. So I'm pretty sure they're under contract. Prospects now down here. We got 3 defensive prospects. We got Ryan Johnson. He's probably ready to become a full-timer. And this Nikita Novikov, who is now a restricted free agent. So you got to do something with him. Radim Murtaugh was our first-round pick last year. He's a big right-handed shot. I understand he had a fair season down in the American Hockey League. So maybe we get him up there, or we get Ryan Johnson up there, or this other guy to take care of that. I think they're all under contract, so that contract's got to be added into here somehow, even if they're in the AHL, I believe, or maybe it isn't. I'll see. Take a look here when I bring this down and see if I can see anything on there. So yeah, they won the Atlantic Division last year. They're coming in number 1. And everybody is expecting them to do the same. I'm not, because the Atlantic Division, look at the teams in there that were all like first, second, third, and fourth place were like all within 3 points of each other at the end of the season. That's crazy. That's crazy toughness. And the other teams that didn't make, they're going to get better also. So I don't know. Let me take the screen down here real quick, and then I'm going to try to bring up see those contracts for those couple guys. I should have brought this up before. So how's everybody doing out there? You all ready for the draft starting next Friday? So Sabres aren't in all that good of shape. They got a first, a fourth, fifth, and a sixth. But their pipeline is pretty good set. There's a couple weaknesses they can look at. I think that from what I read, they have they could use a good scoring left wing down there, and all right, let's see if I can break this out of here, and then I'll try to bring it back up again. Okay, let's bring that back up. That screen over there. Okay, as you can see, that was a surprise. Okay, I'm going down here. Let's say that Pearson, he's a unrestricted free agent. So is Mellenstein. So is that Joshua Doan. All right. So here's they don't even tell us what their contracts, these guys' contracts were. I could probably go back a year and look, but going down here in defense, same as theirs. I'm trying to find out those other guys. There's the Jeff Skinner one. Non-roster forwards under contract. Non-roster defenseman on it. Radam's under contract. Okay, I see Ryan Johnson's under contract. And so is Norvis is the right first stray agents. So if they like him that well, they're going to have to pay him. But these two guys are already under contract, which is already figured in to the overall role. So I don't know. What do you got? What do you people think? Let me have here some ideas on bring up the Buffalo roster thing again one more time. Okay. So as we just looked down there, Mertka, Ryan Johnson are both under contract. Restricted free agents need to get paid. So Benson's, like I said, they're looking $7 million. So if they're going to keep Alex Tuch, they're going to have to do something, and I hope it's not buying more people out. Look what that Jeff Skinner contract did, and Norris has got a pretty high contract too, so that would really hurt. So, as much me personally, as much as I like Alex Tuch on the Sabres, I have to say, I think they got to let him go, because somebody's going to pay him $10 million or $10.5 million. Somebody will, and what is $10 million going to do? And then Zach Benson, that's giving him $7 million. That's $17 million. Not even going to be able to give Peyton Krebs or anybody any raises. So, that's it. That's the roster that I'm going to look for right now. Probably after further review, I'm going to take Malenstein off of here too from re-signing him due to the way things are looking with other players, similar players. There. Okay. So we're going to take Sam Carrick. Did I say, was Sam Carrick on that list, that roster list? I forgot to look. We got Noah Oshlin as a left up there. Noah, he can fit on any one of these lines. So the filling these holes here are not going to be a problem. Jordan Greenway, if he can stay, he does a good job at penalty killing and on defense if he can stay healthy. That's been his problem the last couple of years. So anyway, I'm going to say that at least one of these prospects down here are going to make the team this year to start the season. And then I'm going to say Oshlin. So that's 11. That's 12 counting Oshlin. So then we got 13, 14, and 6 is 20. Then 2 goalies is 22, and you can have 23. So we still got room for one more guy that want to have a Danforth. That guy missed a whole season last year. Yeah. So I don't know. Keep him on the roster, put him on the fourth line. Let's see what he can do. I don't think he's a youngster anymore anyway. So that's what I'm looking at. I talked, if you're coming on late, leave me some comments down there about what you think about the draft coming up and the Buffalo Sabres. This is my guess of what they look like. Hey, what do we got? Hey, Bill, happy 30th birthday. You don't look a day older. Well, it's not my 30th birthday, but I appreciate the comment, Rich. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. This is just my thoughts on the Sabres for this year. If you come on late, check it out at the beginning. I talked about each one of these guys. I talked about why I say let Alex Tuch go, and some of the other things that are going on with the draws. And Richie, what does don't mean? Okay. Anybody got any comments about the Sabres at the draft? Put them up. Yeah, of course there is Richie with the goalies. I don't think that both of them last year had decent seasons. They both had over 20 wins. and with Colton Ellis, the goalie, the young goalie, he helped out too. Because when one of these two guys was injured for a little bit, Colton Ellis came in. He also played and he won some games. So, I wish we had one of the stud goalies, but don't look. I think that honestly, they're going to go with the 3 goalie system again next year. I think Lindy Ruff kind of liked it after he got into it and saw what was happening and how it all played out. But I think UPL will be number 1, Alex Lyon will be the backup, and Colton Ellis will be the third. And that's my thoughts on the goalies. That's all right, Richie. Thank you anyway. Hellebuck, however would you spell his name, would be awesome, and I'm not sure what his contract this life was like. Let me see. Maybe I can get something on it real quickly while we're talking. If I can spell his name right. There we go. HELL, Buck. Okay, his cap hit in 24-25, his cap hit was $8.5 million. Wow. I don't think that they can do that. I'm a longtime Blues fan, and I'm excited for Joel Halfer's future because Binghamton isn't the same goalie as that years back. No, they all getting up there in years. Were you on the stream when I talked about why I thought that Alex Tuch should leave? I don't know if you were or not. If you were, what did you think of my comment on that? So what do you got? What are the Blues looking like in the upcoming draft? The Sabres are short. They got a 1st, a 4th, a 5th, and a 6th. I just got in here a few minutes. Okay. Okay, just I'll quickly recap. Alex Tuch's asking $10.5 million in 8 years. He's 30 years old. That'll take him to 38. Now, there's another guy, I think his name is Kempe on the Kings, that plays a similar type game as Tuch, same kind of statistics, and he's getting 10.5. Tuch is good on offense and good on defense. Yeah, he had a bad second round in the playoffs, but everybody has them every once in a while, don't they? Well, the projected cap space, now that they traded Kesselring right now, is 13.4. So give him 10.5. You're talking about $3 million cap space. Look at the RFA, Zach Benson. That kid is earned already. Talk in town is now that they're looking at a 7-year, $49 million contract for him, which is another youngster tied up for 7 years. They're just building the roster to keep it strong. So give that money to Tuch. What are you going to do about Benson? What are you going to do about Peyton Krebs, who had a really nice year last year? They play so hard, no matter if they ask him to play the first line or the fourth line. Peyton plays hard, and he proved it again in the playoffs. So to me, if paying $10 million is going to ruin all of these other youngsters, to me, let them go. Because there you go. Tuch's got it. Because somebody is going to pay him. Yes, I really, that's what I'm really worried about if he signs, So that to me, I'll hate to see him go because he is really good on offense, very good on defense. He does play the penalty kill also, but the team, they got to look at the team for the future. and not for next week. Let me see what you got here for the draft. Blues got the 11th, 15th, and 29th overall. Wow, that's been an exciting room. Wow, that is going to be an exciting first round for you. The Sabres had the 27th, and they moved up to the 20th with that Kesselring trade this week. Yeah, Richie, I've been supporting Buffalo forever. I've been supporting Buffalo before they were even in the NHL. Prior to the NHL, they were in the AHL as the Buffalo Bisons. And I've been a Buffalo hockey fan way back there. I was born and raised in Buffalo. So, I never got to see the Sabres play in Buffalo. I've seen them play out here in the West Coast, and then when I was in Detroit, but I did go take the bus downtown to go see the Buffalo Bisons play quite often when they were in the AHL. So that's why a lot of times in my thing you'll hear me say, "Hey, I'm Bill Thornton, SoCal Sabre, SABRE." I picked that Sabre name up as a handle years ago when the first Xbox come out, and they asked you to make handles for yourself, and I made SoCal Sabre, so I've kept it for all these years on my gaming channels and everything. What about you? Are you from the St. Louis area? I'm now out in Southern California, but still a Buffalo Bills and a Buffalo Sabre fan. I retired out here when I got out of the Air Force and kind of got stuck out here, but I won't go into that story. But yeah, I'm out here. But I got my one daughter, my one son live in Southern California. I get to see them. I got four grandkids in California, and I have three of them still. My three oldest grandkids are in Buffalo. Let me see what we got going here. I'm a Canadian boy, so I always loved it. Oh, I'll bet you do. Sabres franchises had a rough decade, so glad you still stick around. Now, I will never, ever, ever leave them with it. Look at all the years. All the years I was a Buffalo Bills fan. They had a decade of terribleness too. Yeah. I was just given a Blues jersey when I was about 6, so I decided to follow them. Kids make weird choices. All right, that's good. That's understanding. Yeah, I got a nice big family, but we're spread out. But we get to see them every once in a while back in Buffalo. My grandson from out here in California, him and I, 2 years ago in July, we drove all the way across country to Buffalo. We visited them in Buffalo. I took my grandson up to Niagara Falls, but I stopped along the way for him to be able to see other parts of the country and other things of interest. Yeah, so the Sabres, I'm going to be interested to see who they pick in that first round with that 20th. I wouldn't be surprised if it was just best available, but I think some forwards are going to fall, and if there's a big left winger out there, he might become a Buffalo Sabre. Sounds long, but a fun road trip. Yeah, it was. The whole trip over there and back was like 15 days. Like, we didn't push it, every single day along the route. I had planned out where we stopped. Like the first day, we drove up to Winslow, Arizona. We went to the Meteor Crater. Everywhere we went, there was something to see each day, so that the driving was only maybe 6 hours a day. So you think many defensemen go earlier than expected? Buffalo could use, down in the AHL, could use another left-handed shooting defenseman, the same as they could use a left wing also. Those that Radim Murtka, that prospect I got up there, that was our number one draft choice last year. I heard he's had a good season, and he's a big guy. And he's a right-handed shot. So that would be nice to have. This may be the season where he breaks into the NHL. I forget who else they have. I brought up the salary chart before that had all the defensemen on there, but I'm not real familiar with all of the AHL players for the Sabres. But I don't think that defensemen, Buffalo's got 2 number 1 picks for that were defensemen. But I don't think the defensemen are going to go real high this year. At least maybe I haven't been keeping up on the news all that well. Actual matchups between the teams they play on, yeah, that's kind of tough. There are some stations which you have to really search for them to find. I don't know if I go to the Rochester Amherst webpage when the season's going on, somewhere on there, they tell you when a game is going to be played on TV and where. No, I have never been to British Columbia. I have not. My Canadian experiences are from the Windsor, Ontario side, because I was in Detroit, over to the Fort Erie side, across from Buffalo. That's about my Canadian experiences. I've driven that road several times. Niagara Falls, of course. I'm trying to think if there's anything I didn't talk about earlier that, And if we don't get this kid back, Yuri Coolidge, next year, that's going to really hurt. It really hurt this year because that kid is a real stud. And, he came down with that blood clog and missed almost the whole season. And I have not read or heard anything on his status as far as how the recovery from that went, or is it done? It's a little bit lower level AAA for the kids playing. Only the rare kid gets drafted from this league. Newhook, 20 years with the Avalanche. He had a great season. Yeah. There's a lot of, the like AAA leagues in the U.S. and in Canada that are really got some really good hockey players in them. But you're right, they don't get drafted a lot right out of them. The U.S. is starting to pick up some through their developmental program and through the colleges. From the colleges, the players are starting to come out. And I see some of the European players are now coming over and going to college. Playoffs with Montreal. Oh, yeah, that was Newhook. Yeah, that guy drove me crazy. Yeah, especially in the college, especially if they go to places like Michigan or Boston College, the teams that are in the big divisions and the good divisions in that, these guys get several years of really good experience play against other really good players. And that helps a lot when it comes to the draft, especially if they can do okay in those leagues. Yeah, I was kind of surprised when the playoffs were on. I was kind of surprised that Vegas took Colorado out with no problem at all. But then, Carolina beating them like they didn't surprise me at all, because I see Carolina a lot because they're in the East, with same as Buffalo and Montreal. Carolina's been a steady team now for as long as I can remember, especially under Brad. Yeah, that was a real shock, And I thought, oh boy, maybe they're going to go again. But actually, my son, my oldest son, didn't understand when I said, I thought Carolina winning was good for the NHL because they have not won for so many years, a couple decades or something like that. And the Vegas has been in the finals like 4 times in the first 9 years. And to me, it's like, okay, we're going to keep spending money till we can win it, So. Yeah, I know. That's kind of crazy. That's really crazy, Yeah, I think 2004 was the last time for Carolina. But they have pretty much been a thorn in Buffalo's side for many years. Yeah, I normally get this out, just before the draft, but I'm going to be going out of town on Monday up to Vegas for, I don't know if you play baseball, board game baseball, but Vegas holds it. There's a APBA baseball board game championship every year up there. So I go up every year and play in it. Everyone's been a thorn to Buffalo. Yeah, you're right. Ha, you're right. Including Buffalo. No. But like I said earlier in the show, I don't think that, somebody said, well, they won the East this year. I mean, they won the Atlantic Division this year. They should do it again. And I don't believe that that's a should, because if you look at the teams that made the playoffs from the Atlantic Division, between the first and the fourth place team, there was only 3 points difference, I believe. And then the other two teams that didn't make it are going to be better too. So that is going to be a real battle. And so we'll see. Yeah. I wonder how the West is going to be this year. Especially the Kings got a new coach, and from what I've read about him, and I can't even remember how to pronounce his name right now, that he's more offensive minded. Kings have never been a real offensive minded team, so maybe they're going to be making some changes. Okay, Richie, watch out. I'm come up anytime. As you see down in the bottom, I do a question and answer period. It's open chat, and I do a monthly report. This one's on June 28th, 3 p.m. Pacific. Hope to see you there. Everybody, let's got something to chat about. Put it on there right now, and I'm going to shut her down here in a second. Okay, thank you everybody for coming on. Richie Hall, thank you for coming on board and chatting with me today. Much appreciated. SoCal Sabres saying take care of yourselves out there. Be kind to each other. Stay safe.